Across deserts, jungles, and mountains, ancient hands raised monuments so immense they defy reason. Vast pyramids that pierce the heavens, temples carved from living rock, and cities whose scale still humbles our modern world. These are not the remnants of ordinary building. They are megastructures, feats of engineering so advanced that centuries later we still struggle to explain them. How did ancient civilizations move stones weighing hundreds of tons without machines? What drove them to carve entire cities into cliffs or align massive monuments with the stars? And why do so many of these structures carry mysteries of sudden abandonment, hidden chambers, or impossible precision? Tonight, we will journey across continents and through time itself to explore these enigmas, structures that should not exist yet stand as undeniable proof of human ambition and perhaps something more. From the endless sands of Egypt to the high peaks of South America, each chapter pulls us deeper into the shadows of history where fact and mystery intertwine. This video took countless hours of research, writing, and editing to bring you a story that stretches beyond the limits of history as we know it. If you find yourself drawn into these mysteries, I ask one thing. Please subscribe to this channel. It's my goal to reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support means everything, and it ensures that more of these forgotten stories can be uncovered and shared. Also, the images in this video are only for visualization, so there is no need to watch them closely. This video is perfect to listen to while you work, relax, or drift off to sleep. So, settle in, open your mind, and prepare to witness the ancient megastructures that defy explanation. The Great Pyramid of Giza, rising from the sands of Egypt, has stood for more than 4,500 years. It is not simply a monument. It is the last surviving wonder of the ancient world, and perhaps the greatest architectural enigma ever constructed. Even today, it remains the largest stone structure ever built by human hands. When first completed, gleaming white limestone casing stones covered its surface, making it shine like a beacon under the sun. To the people of the ancient world, it must have seemed less like a building and more like a creation of the gods themselves. The numbers alone inspire awe. Originally, the pyramid stood 146 meters tall, its base measuring over 230 meters on each side. More than 2.3 million blocks of stone were used, weighing anywhere from 2 to 80 tons each. Some of the granite blocks inside were hauled from quarries hundreds of kilometers away in Aswan. To this day, engineers and archaeologists are left struggling to explain how such an undertaking could have been completed using the tools of the Bronze Age. The traditional explanation is that ramps were built, massive earthworks that allowed stones to be dragged upward by sheer manpower. But this theory is riddled with problems. A straight ramp tall enough to reach the pyramid's summit would have needed more material than the pyramid itself. A spiraling ramp around the outside should have left clear evidence, yet no traces remain. Could the builders have dismantled such ramps completely? Perhaps. But the scale of such a secondary project seems almost as implausible as the pyramid itself. Inside, the mysteries deepen. The so-called King's Chamber is roofed with granite beams weighing up to 60 tons each, somehow raised more than 40 meters above the ground. Without steel, cranes, or modern lifting gear, how could ancient builders possibly position them with such precision? Even today, engineers debate whether it would be feasible to replicate this feat with the technology available at the time. The interior is not decorated like the richly painted tombs of later pharaohs. There are no murals, no hieroglyphic inscriptions, and no treasures. Instead, the passages are stark, narrow, and precise. Some lead to the outside, aligned with breathtaking accuracy to stars in the constellation Orion and to Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Was this simply coincidence or evidence of a civilization deeply concerned with cosmic order? In 2017, new technology revealed another secret. Using muon tomography, a method similar to an X-ray, scientists discovered a vast hidden void above the Grand Gallery. This empty space is roughly the size of a passenger jet, and no one knows why it exists. It has remained untouched for millennia, sealed since the pyramid's construction. Is it merely a structural cavity to relieve weight, or does it conceal chambers yet to be explored? Could it even contain Khufu's long-lost burial, or something more symbolic, designed to link the pharaoh's soul with the heavens? Mathematics hidden in the structure adds another layer of mystery. The pyramid's base is aligned to true north with astonishing accuracy within a fraction of a degree. Its proportions encode the mathematical constant pi and the golden ratio. Some researchers have argued that its dimensions even approximate the curvature of the Earth and the length of the solar year. Could this knowledge have been achieved through careful observation and practical geometry? Or did the builders possess a level of mathematical understanding far beyond what we assume for their time? The purpose of the pyramid is equally contested. The orthodox view holds that it was a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, built to secure his eternal life. Yet no mummy was ever found within, and the plain stone sarcophagus in the king's chamber lies empty. Unlike later Egyptian tombs, there are no scenes of the afterlife, no funerary texts. Some propose it was not a tomb at all, but a temple of initiation, an astronomical observatory, or even a machine designed to harness natural energy from the earth. Ancient historians also added their own layers of legend. Herodotus, writing centuries later, claimed the pyramid took 20 years to complete, with 100,000 men laboring in shifts. Yet even with such a workforce, the logistics remained daunting. To finish in 2 decades, builders would have needed to cut, transport, and position one block every 2 minutes, day and night, without interruption. Could this truly have been achieved with copper chisels, stone hammers, and wooden sleds? Medieval Arab chroniclers believe the pyramid predated the flood of Noah, built to preserve the wisdom of earlier civilizations. Some even claimed it contained hidden treasures of science, medicine, and astronomy, sealed away by antediluvian kings. Others, more fantastical still, suggested the pyramids were raised not by men, but by supernatural beings, jinn, angels, or visitors from the stars. While these stories belong to myth rather than archaeology, they reflect a timeless sense of awe, the feeling that this structure is not merely human, but something greater. Even in the modern age, the pyramid continues to resist easy answers. Was water used to float stones across the desert? Did the Egyptians master ingenious techniques of levers and counterweights, now lost to time? Or was the Great Pyramid a culmination of knowledge we barely comprehend, combining religion, astronomy, and mathematics into one colossal structure meant to mirror the universe itself? What we know is this: the Great Pyramid of Giza is more than stone stacked upon stone. It is a message, written in architecture, a monument that has endured longer than any empire, longer than any king. Its silent chambers whisper of secrets still hidden, its immense bulk a riddle carved into the desert. To stand before it is to confront the limits of human understanding and to glimpse the possibility that our ancestors knew more than we dare to imagine.
On the windswept plains of Salisbury in southern England stands one of the world's most iconic and perplexing ancient structures, Stonehenge. A ring of colossal stones, some weighing up to 40 tons, arranged in a precise circle that has confounded archaeologists, astronomers, and historians for centuries. Its purpose, construction methods, and the people who built it remain shrouded in mystery, a riddle carved into the very earth. Stonehenge is more than a pile of rocks. It is a complex monument that evolved over centuries. Archaeologists estimate construction began around 3100 BCE, with the last major phase completed around 1600 BCE. The earliest stones were simple wooden posts and smaller stones, gradually replaced with massive sarsen blocks and smaller bluestones brought from distant regions. Some of these bluestones originated over 200 kilometers away from the Preseli Hills in Wales. How these stones, each weighing several tons, were transported across rugged terrain without wheels or draft animals is still debated. The alignment of Stonehenge is what sets it apart from mere megalithic architecture. The monument is oriented to the solstices, particularly the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset. For thousands of years, the rising sun on the longest day of the year would shine directly into the center of the stone circle, illuminating the heel stone and casting shadows across the landscape. Such precision implies an advanced understanding of astronomy. Why would a prehistoric people invest so much effort in creating this alignment? Theories range from religious observance to agricultural calendars, but no definitive answer exists. Transporting the stones alone would have required incredible ingenuity. Experiments suggest a combination of wooden sledges, ropes, and rollers could have been used, yet even these methods demand immense coordination and manpower. Some stones, the larger sarsens, weigh up to 40 tons, while the smaller bluestones average around 4 tons each. The logistics of moving them from their distant quarries, especially the bluestones from Wales, remain a puzzle. Could ancient builders have floated them on rafts along rivers and streams, or rolled them across specially prepared paths? The truth may be lost forever. The construction itself reveals remarkable engineering skill. The lintels atop the vertical stones are carefully shaped to fit in mortise and tenon joints, a technique usually associated with woodworking. This interlocking system ensured stability over millennia, allowing the stones to remain standing despite centuries of exposure to wind, rain, and frost. The precision of the cuts and the careful leveling of each stone show a level of craftsmanship far beyond what one might expect from Neolithic peoples. Stonehenge's purpose has inspired countless theories. Was it a temple for ancient sun worshippers, a ceremonial burial ground, an astronomical observatory? Excavations around the site have revealed cremated human remains, suggesting it was a sacred place of the dead. Yet the absence of inscriptions, written records, or consistent artifacts leaves its true purpose open to speculation. Some suggest it functioned as a pilgrimage site, a place where people traveled from distant regions to perform rituals or witness celestial events. Others argue it was a social and political hub, asserting power and cohesion through monumental construction. One of the greatest mysteries lies not only in its construction, but in the selection of the stones themselves. Why were bluestones chosen from quarries over 200 kilometers away? These stones are geologically unique, yet there is no clear explanation for their significance. Were they valued for their sound, their color, or their supposed spiritual properties? Some researchers have proposed that ancient builders believed the stones possessed healing qualities, a claim supported by the discovery of human remains with signs of injury and illness nearby. Despite centuries of study, new discoveries continue to emerge. Recent surveys using ground-penetrating radar and magnetometry have revealed hundreds of previously unknown features surrounding Stonehenge, including buried pits, post holes, and other megalithic arrangements, suggesting it was part of a far larger ceremonial landscape. The stone circle we see today may be just the tip of the iceberg, a single element in a vast complex of ritual and astronomical significance. To To stand before Stonehenge is to confront the ingenuity and ambition of a people long vanished. It is to witness a megastructure whose purpose, methods, and meaning continue to elude our understanding. Even after millennia, it exerts a magnetic pull, drawing researchers, travelers, and dreamers alike, reminding us that some mysteries are meant to endure. As we leave the rolling plains of England, our journey moves eastward to Lebanon, where stones so massive they weigh over 1,000 tons form walls that defy explanation and challenge our understanding of ancient engineering.
In the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, hidden among the ruins of a once great Roman temple complex, lie stones that defy comprehension. Known as the Trilithon, these megaliths form part of the foundations of the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek. Yet their size and precision have left archaeologists and engineers astounded for centuries. Each of these three colossal blocks weighs more than 800 tons, a scale so immense that even with modern machinery, moving them would challenge the limits of engineering. The sheer enormity of these stones raises immediate questions. How were they quarried, transported, and placed with such accuracy thousands of years ago? Some scholars suggest the builders may have used levers, rollers, or earthen ramps. Yet the weight of the stones makes these explanations seem almost fantastical. Modern attempts to replicate the feat have proven nearly impossible, underscoring the gulf between ancient capabilities and the technologies available to the people of the time. Beneath the Roman temple, the Trilithon rests on a foundation of precisely cut limestone blocks. The stones measure approximately 19 meters in length, 4 meters in height, and 3.6 meters in width. One block alone weighs nearly 1,000 tons. Their alignment is astonishing. Perfectly horizontal, precisely level, and spaced to distribute the immense weight above them. Some suggest that the builders may have used knowledge of structural engineering far beyond what is commonly attributed to ancient civilizations. Quarries for these stones lie nearby, yet the methods used to move them remain unexplained. The distance from the quarry to the temple site is relatively short in comparison to the effort required, yet the logistics are staggering. Some researchers have proposed the use of sledges, lubricated with water or other lubricants, a technique documented in later Egyptian monuments. But scaling this method to stones of nearly 1,000 tons stretches plausibility. Others speculate that ancient builders may have employed lost technologies or techniques that modern engineers cannot fully comprehend. Baalbek itself has long been a place of myth and mystery. The site predates the Roman temple by centuries, with evidence suggesting it was a sacred location for earlier civilizations, including the Phoenicians. Legends claim that the stones were placed by giants or gods, a reflection of the awe inspired by the sheer size of the megaliths. While such stories belong more to myth than archaeology, they highlight a universal recognition. The construction of Baalbek's foundations is nothing short of miraculous. The Trilithon is also notable for its precision. Despite the massive size of the stones, they fit together with remarkable accuracy. Gaps are minimal and the contact surfaces are almost perfectly flat, an achievement that would be difficult even with modern cutting tools. This raises questions about the techniques and tools used. Did the builders employ simple chisels and hammers, or were their methods lost to time, capable of shaping and positioning these blocks with unparalleled precision? Beyond the technical challenges, the purpose of the Trilithon and the temple above it remains a topic of debate. The Temple of Jupiter, completed during the Roman era, was among the largest religious structures of the ancient world. Its foundation, however, suggests that earlier civilizations may have had ambitions even greater than those of the Romans. Why construct such massive supports? Was it purely functional to support colossal structures above?
Or did the scale itself hold symbolic significance, representing power, divinity, or connection to the cosmos? Baalbek's mysteries extend beyond the trilithon. The temple complex includes other massive stones, some weighing hundreds of tons, all arranged with precision. The entire site demonstrates an understanding of engineering, geometry, and weight distribution that seems incongruent with what we know of the period's technology. Even today, the stones inspire awe and frustration among engineers, attempting to determine how they could have been moved and placed. Archaeologists continue to study Baalbek, yet each answer seems to raise new questions. How could a civilization so seemingly distant from modern machinery achieve feats that remain nearly impossible today? Were these stones simply the product of human determination, ingenuity, and labor? Or does Baalbek hint at knowledge long forgotten, a technological understanding that vanished alongside the builders themselves? Standing before the trilithon, the scale of human ambition is undeniable. The stones are not just monuments, they are statements, carved into the earth, demanding recognition, inspiring wonder, and challenging every assumption we have about the past. The builders may be long gone, yet their legacy endures, silent but imposing, a reminder that ancient civilizations reached heights that still leave us questioning the limits of what is possible. Baalbek challenges our understanding of human history. It forces us to reconsider what we believe about ancient technology, engineering, and ambition. The trilithon stands as a testament to the fact that even millennia later, some human achievements remain beyond our comprehension. As we leave Lebanon, the journey continues across continents and centuries. From massive stones in the Middle East, we move next to the mountains of Peru, where interlocking walls of stone create fortresses that have withstood earthquakes for centuries, yet the methods of their construction remain equally mysterious.
High above the ancient city of Cusco, the former capital of the Inca Empire, rises a fortress whose stones seem to defy logic. Known as Sacsayhuaman, this massive complex is one of the most astonishing feats of engineering left by the Incas, and perhaps one of the most mysterious of all ancient megastructures. Its zigzagging walls, constructed of colossal limestone blocks fitted with uncanny precision, leave visitors and scholars alike wondering how such marvels were created without iron tools, wheels, or modern machinery. The stones of Sacsayhuaman are unlike anything else in the Andes. Some measure over 8 meters in height and weigh up to 200 tons. Yet they are cut and polished with such skill that they slot together like the pieces of a puzzle, without mortar, their joints so tight that even a blade of grass cannot slip between them. The walls curve and angle with such complexity that they seem designed not just for strength, but for an artistry that merges the practical with the sublime. The question that persists is how the Incas achieved this. Official explanations suggest a combination of hammerstones, wooden rollers, and inclined planes. But to move, shape, and fit rocks of such size with primitive tools stretches belief. The Incas had no draft animals strong enough to haul such loads, no pulleys, and no wheeled transport. Yet these immense blocks were not only transported, but raised and locked into place on a hillside overlooking Cusco, forming fortifications that were both defensive and ceremonial. Sacsayhuaman is more than walls. It is an architectural statement. The fortress covers a vast area, with terraces arranged in 3 massive zigzag lines, each wall designed to absorb and deflect the force of earthquakes. Peru lies on seismic fault lines, and Cusco has experienced devastating tremors throughout history. Yet Sacsayhuaman remains standing, its stones unmoved.
Modern engineers marvel at the ingenuity of this seismic-resistant design, a technology that feels far ahead of its time. Legends surround the site, and many of them reflect the awe inspired by its construction. Inca oral traditions claim that Sacsayhuaman was built not by humans, but by giants, or by a race of beings with extraordinary powers. Later Spanish chroniclers, astonished by the fortress, echoed these sentiments, describing it as the work of demons or supernatural forces. Such myths illustrate a simple truth. Even in antiquity, the scale of Sacsayhuaman seemed to exceed human ability. Archaeologists generally attribute its construction to the rule of the Inca emperor Pachacuti and his successors in the 15th century. Yet questions remain. Could the Incas alone have achieved this, or were they building upon foundations far older than their own civilization? Some stones appear so massive and weathered that they suggest reuse from an earlier culture. One's techniques have vanished without record. This possibility links Sacsayhuaman to other megalithic sites worldwide, where civilizations seem to inherit monumental structures from predecessors lost to history. The craftsmanship of the stonework itself is equally perplexing. Each block is unique, carved to fit its neighbors with astonishing precision. The seams between stones curve and twist in irregular patterns, creating walls that are at once organic and geometric. The purpose of this design remains debated. Was it purely functional, allowing for flexibility and resistance to earthquakes, or did it encode symbolic meaning? A reflection of the Inca worldview in which nature, geometry, and spirituality were inseparably linked. Sacsayhuaman was not just a fortress, but also a sacred site. The Incas considered it the house of the sun, a place of ritual and ceremony. Its elevated position above Cusco, itself laid out in the shape of a puma, suggests cosmic and terrestrial symbolism. Some scholars argue that Sacsayhuaman formed the head of this great puma, with its zigzagging walls representing the animal's teeth. If true, then the fortress was both a military stronghold and a cosmic monument, uniting earth, sky, and empire in stone. The Spanish conquest brought tragedy to the site. After defeating the Incas, the Spaniards dismantled much of Sacsayhuaman, using its smaller stones to build colonial churches and houses in Cusco. What remains today are the largest blocks, too massive to move, silent witnesses to a grandeur that once dominated the landscape. Yet even in ruin, the fortress continues to astonish, each stone an unbroken link to a world that engineered with knowledge we cannot fully explain. The precision with which these stones fit together also raises another question. How did the Incas achieve such finishes without metal tools? Archaeological evidence shows they used harder stones, such as diorite, to pound and shape softer limestone, a method that seems crude compared to the results achieved. To polish surfaces that curve and lock seamlessly requires not only brute force, but an understanding of geometry and material properties at an advanced level. The skill transcends practicality. It approaches artistry of the highest order. The logistical challenges were equally immense. The stones were quarried several kilometers away at a site known as Kenko. Transporting them over uneven terrain would have required teams of hundreds, perhaps thousands of workers. Inclined planes and ramps may have been employed, but to coordinate such movements with accuracy, ensuring stones did not shatter or shift, reveals an organizational sophistication that matched the physical effort. It is no wonder the Incas regarded the laborers and architects of Sacsayhuaman with reverence. Beyond its physical mysteries, Sacsayhuaman also symbolizes the ambition of the Inca Empire. It was built not only to defend Cusco, but to proclaim the power of a civilization that saw itself as the axis of the world. The Incas worshipped the sun, the mountains, and the stars, and in Sacsayhuaman they created a space that embodied these cosmic forces in stone. The fortress was both shield and shrine, proof of a people determined to leave a legacy written in megaliths. Today, standing before the walls of Sacsayhuaman, one cannot help but feel both wonder and humility. The fortress embodies a paradox. It is undeniably human, built by hands and sweat, yet it transcends what we think human hands should have been capable of achieving. Its stones defy time, war, and even earthquakes, holding within them the unanswered questions of a vanished empire. Sacsayhuaman remains one of the most extraordinary sights on Earth, a megastructure that challenges our understanding of the past. It tells us that the ancients knew more than we imagine, that they possessed skills we cannot easily replicate, and that their legacy continues to echo in every block of stone they left behind.
On a windswept hill in southeastern Turkey, buried beneath layers of earth for millennia, lies a site that has shaken the very foundations of archaeology. Known as Gobekli Tepe, it is often called the world's first temple, a sanctuary of stone circles that predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the Egyptian pyramids by 7,000. What makes this place truly extraordinary is not only its age, dating back to around 9600 BCE, but the fact that it was built by hunter-gatherers long before farming, cities, or written language emerged. Here, towering T-shaped pillars rise from the earth, some weighing over 20 tons, carved with images of animals, insects, and abstract symbols. Lions, scorpions, foxes, and vultures adorn the stones in bas-relief, etched with such skill that they retain their sharpness even after 12,000 years. The layout is circular, with central pillars surrounded by rings of smaller ones, forming enclosures that suggest both ritual and cosmic meaning. The mystery is twofold. First, how were nomadic hunter-gatherers capable of organizing the labor to quarry, carve, and erect such massive stones? And second, why did they do it? Conventional history tells us that religion and monumental architecture emerged after the development of agriculture, once people had settled into permanent villages. Yet Gobekli Tepe reverses this sequence. Here it seems that spiritual or ritual practice came first, and farming followed as a necessity to support the communities drawn to this sacred place. Archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, who led excavations at Gobekli Tepe until his death in 2014, famously remarked that the site was not built by farmers, but rather that it may have given birth to farming itself. The idea is staggering, that religion, or at least communal ritual, was the spark that transformed human society from small bands of hunters and to settled civilizations. If true, then Gobekli Tepe is not only the world's first temple, but the cradle of civilization itself. The construction of the site presents enormous challenges. Without metal tools, wheels, or domesticated beasts of burden, how were these pillars quarried and moved? Limestone is abundant in the region, but extracting blocks of such size requires careful planning and immense labor. Archaeologists suggest that teams of people used flint tools to chip away at the rock and wooden sledges to drag the stones. Yet to move a 20-ton pillar even a short distance would have required coordination, manpower, and ingenuity far beyond what we typically associate with hunter-gatherers. Adding to the mystery is the fact that Gobekli Tepe was intentionally buried around 8000 BCE. The enclosures were filled with earth and debris, preserving them for thousands of years. Why would its builders hide their greatest achievement? Some speculate that it was part of a ritual closure, a deliberate act to retire the site's sacred power. Others wonder whether climatic shifts or cultural transitions forced its abandonment, with the burial serving as both protection and farewell. Whatever the reason, this act ensured that Gobekli Tepe would remain hidden until modern times,
frozen in time like a message from a forgotten world. The symbolism of the site deepens the enigma. Many of the carved animals appear to be arranged in ways that suggest seasonal or astronomical meaning. Some scholars argue that the pillars represent anthropomorphic beings, perhaps deities or ancestors, with their T-shapes symbolizing stylized human forms. Others propose that the carvings encode celestial knowledge, serving as a kind of prehistoric star map. The vulture, for instance, was associated in later cultures with death and the sky, hinting at beliefs in an afterlife or cosmic cycle. Even more curious is the absence of domestic remains. Unlike later temples or settlements, Gobekli Tepe shows no evidence of everyday life. No houses, no hearths, no signs of permanent habitation. This was not a village. It was a place set apart, a gathering point where people came together for rituals, feasting, and perhaps initiation ceremonies. Archaeological evidence of large-scale feasts, including remains of wild game and vats for brewing beer, suggests that ritual and celebration went hand in hand. It was here, perhaps, that scattered groups forged bonds, shared stories, and created the first shared mythologies that united them as something larger than themselves. Gobekli Tepe's age forces us to rethink human history. At a time when most of the world's population lived in small, mobile bands, the builders of this site organized labor on a monumental scale, demonstrating not only technical skill, but social complexity. The very existence of Gobekli Tepe challenges the linear progression we once assumed, that agriculture leads to settlement, settlement to religion, and religion to civilization. Instead, it may have been belief itself that gave birth to all that followed. Some alternative researchers go further, suggesting that Gobekli Tepe preserves knowledge inherited from an even older, lost civilization, one erased by the end of the Ice Age. The Younger Dryas period, a sudden return to glacial conditions around 10,800 BCE, brought cataclysmic climate change and rising seas. Could Gobekli Tepe be a remnant of survivors, preserving in stone a tradition that stretched back even further than we dare to imagine? While mainstream archaeology does not endorse such theories, the possibility lingers, fueled by the site's sheer antiquity and sophistication. To walk among the pillars of Gobekli Tepe today is to step into a world where myth and history blur. The stones rise in silence, weathered yet enduring, bearing the marks of hands that worked them over 10,000 years ago. Each carving, each circle, speaks of a society both alien and familiar, a people without writing, without cities, yet capable of imagining and constructing one of the most profound monuments in human history. The site remains only partially excavated. Less than 10% has been uncovered, meaning that vast portions lie still buried, waiting to reveal their secrets. What else sleeps beneath the earth? More rings of stones? Greater enclosures? Perhaps even evidence that Gobekli Tepe was part of a network of sacred sites across the ancient world. Whatever the truth, the work continues, and with each discovery, our understanding of humanity's beginnings shifts ever further from certainty. Gobekli Tepe endures as a mystery written in stone, a temple older than history, a place that forces us to reconsider what it means to be human. It tells us that before the first plow struck soil, before the first village rose, before the first word was written, people gathered here to worship, to dream, and to build something that would outlast them all. 12,000 years later, their vision still stands, defying explanation, demanding awe.
Just outside modern-day Mexico City lies the ruined city of Teotihuacán, a place so vast and enigmatic that even its name is borrowed. The Aztecs, who stumbled upon its ruins centuries after it was abandoned, called it Teotihuacán, the place where gods were born. Yet the true builders of this immense metropolis remain shrouded in mystery, their identity and fate lost to time. What endures are their monuments, sprawling pyramids, grand avenues, and architectural alignments that still defy complete explanation. At its height, between the 1st and 6th centuries CE, Teotihuacan was one of the largest cities in the world, with a population estimated at over 100,000. It stretched across more than 8 square miles, a meticulously planned urban grid unlike anything else in the Americas at the time. Running through its heart was the Avenue of the Dead, a vast ceremonial boulevard flanked by temples, plazas, and palaces. At its northern end loomed the Pyramid of the Moon. Further south, the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest structures ever built in the ancient world. The Pyramid of the Sun rises over 200 feet and is constructed from millions of tons of stone and earth. Its base measures nearly 700 feet per side, making it comparable in scale to the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yet unlike Egypt's pyramids, Teotihuacan's were not tombs, but ceremonial monuments, built for purposes that remain uncertain. What is clear is that they were aligned with the cosmos. The entire city's grid is oriented 15.5 degrees east of north, a precision that matches astronomical events. Some scholars believe the city was designed as a reflection of the heavens, a terrestrial model of the cosmos where rituals ensured the balance between earth and sky. The Pyramid of the Sun itself aligns with the setting sun on specific dates that divide the year into equal agricultural cycles, hinting that the structure functioned as a vast calendar. Beneath its massive bulk lies a man-made cave, shaped like a four-lobed clover, which may have represented the mythical place of creation. To the people of Teotihuacan, this was no ordinary city. It was a cosmic stage, where rituals connected humanity with the divine order of the universe. One of the city's greatest mysteries is the identity of its builders. Unlike the Maya or the Aztecs, who left behind extensive inscriptions, Teotihuacan's people left no clear written records of their history. Their language, their rulers, even their name for themselves are unknown. We know them only through their architecture, murals, and artifacts. This silence has fueled endless speculation. Were they a coalition of cultures, refugees from a collapsed society, or an entirely separate civilization that rose and fell before the Aztecs ever walked the Valley of Mexico? Adding to the enigma are the discoveries beneath Teotihuacan. In recent years, archaeologists uncovered hidden tunnels beneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, a smaller but elaborately decorated temple along the Avenue of the Dead. These tunnels contained offerings of jade, obsidian, seashells, and even pools of liquid mercury, a substance so strange and rare that its presence seems almost otherworldly. Was it meant to represent a shimmering underworld river? Was it part of initiation rites or royal burials long since lost? No definitive answers have been found. The murals of Teotihuacan add further layers of mystery. Brilliantly painted walls depict jaguars, serpents, and abstract deities unlike those of later Mesoamerican cultures. Among them is the enigmatic figure known as the Great Goddess, a towering entity associated with fertility, water, and the underworld. Some scholars believe she was the city's patron deity, a mother figure who presided over both life and death. Yet others argue that Teotihuacan was not ruled by kings or gods at all, but by a council of elites who governed collectively. The absence of royal tombs or obvious palaces suggests a different form of authority, one that challenges our assumptions about how great civilizations were structured. The city's decline is as mysterious as its rise. By the 7th century CE, Teotihuacan began to wither. Its great pyramids and avenues fell silent, its murals faded, and its population dispersed. Archaeological evidence suggests that parts of the city were burned, temples deliberately destroyed. Was this the result of foreign invasion, internal revolt, or environmental collapse? No one knows. By the time the Aztecs arrived centuries later, they found only ruins, a ghost city haunted by colossal monuments, which they venerated as the work of gods. The legacy of Teotihuacan stretches far beyond its walls.
Its architectural style, its deities, and even its urban planning influenced cultures across Mesoamerica, from the Maya to the Toltecs. Yet the heart of its mystery remains, a city built on cosmic principles, without names, without rulers, without clear origins. It is as if the builders wanted the city itself, not individuals, to embody their vision. Standing today atop the Pyramid of the Sun, one can look down the Avenue of the Dead and see a city frozen in stone, silent yet speaking volumes. The alignment with the mountains, the precision of the grid, the sheer scale of construction, these are testaments to knowledge we still struggle to fully understand. The absence of a written history forces us to rely on the monuments themselves, and they whisper of a worldview where earth and sky, life and death, were inextricably linked. Teotihuacán endures, not just as ruins, but as a riddle carved into the landscape of Mexico. It is a place where gods were said to be born, but where the humans who built it remain faceless and nameless, their story swallowed by time. But in the stones, in the murals, and in the shadows of the pyramids we sense their presence still, a people who dared to reshape the earth to mirror the heavens.
The monuments we've explored are more than stone and engineering. They are echoes of civilizations that reached for the impossible, carving their visions into mountains, raising stones heavier than modern cranes can lift, and aligning their creations with the heavens. Their builders are gone, but their work still defies our understanding, standing as a challenge across the centuries. If you've journeyed with me this far, thank you. These videos take an immense amount of time and dedication to create, and your support makes it possible. Please consider subscribing. It means everything and helps keep these mysteries alive. Until the next exploration, remember, the stones still whisper if we're willing to listen.